to us. You've been on my hit list for a while now, so I've got you here. So let's get questioning. So obviously this new exercise or interesting angle with hospital, you know, is there any challenges this might bring in terms of it's different to their usual kind of output?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's an interesting back catalogue, the hospital part. It's, you know, it's very diverse, but it holds one sort of thread throughout the middle.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, musical dance music. Making dance music is a challenging thing. Definitely. Making tunes that people are going to dance to, it's very difficult. For me, it was the thread that connects the hospital tracks and the hospital artists together. It's the musical element, melodic side of things that I really kind of latched onto. That made me feel that my stuff, although it's not D&B, it can fit in that hole. But in terms of writing that kind of stuff, yeah, it's challenging and it's certainly humbling to be put next to all the great stuff that comes out from that label. Yeah.
But what you're gonna bring with that is high expectations. You know, we're going to talk about the EP in a minute, but the EP, as great as it is, you've got to follow this up now.
Absolutely.
You know, and obviously those guys are on the same agenda.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But that's a good problem to have, isn't it?
It is. It's the best problem to have. Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm really excited because, you know, I've been writing music a long time, and although this is a 7-track EP, it's got a lot of different flavours in there, and in terms of where I want to head, I've got a lot of ideas, and it's not straight down the middle.
To give Hospital their due, they're taking a risk here, and that's not a risk on you as an individual artist, but they're doing something different to their norm. They've got a solid foundation, solid fan base, massive following, and they're doing this new thing.
There's a lot of pressure on that, definitely, but I think they're kind of reflecting a lot of how dance music is at the moment. It's spreading in every which direction, and what they've done with me is they've chosen music that fits under their umbrella of musical dance, outside of the club, I guess.
When I received the EP, I kind of thought, why have I been sent this? You know, like drum and bass. And I gave it a listen, and one thing you mentioned was it's kind of just music that's kind of listenable outside the club. That's exactly what it is. I'm not saying it don't work in the club, but I've had it on repeat for a long time, and I'll talk to you about my favourite track in a minute, Skins of an S. Right? When you sat down to write this EP, did you sit down to write an EP or sort of kind of maybe an album? Or was it just kind of a mixture of a combination of stuff he was working on? How did it sort of slot together?
Right, so I've been writing for many years, and this, the hospital signing came at a point where I was writing lots of tracks, and these were a bunch of tracks that I felt fit really nicely together. Like, I picked them out of quite a few, and they're the ones for me that really stuck out, and they're the ones the hospital liked the most. So they slot together nicely as an EP, and I can't really say that I sat down and wrote this EP as is. 7 tracks is a lot for an EP,
yeah, definitely,
but it kind of, I guess, reflects the fact that I have had a bunch of tunes ready to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really nice to see it in its final form, and it's even nicer to be able to put it out there and hear people's reactions.
Yeah. And then going back to the production, and in your studio, when you have Brothers Studios, are you influenced in any way on kind of, will they use this?
Absolutely.
I'm going to have to use the same, or
I mean, it's like listening to other music. Like, you can't really help but take something in from it.
Yeah. And can you give us any hints on sort of what the setup is in your studio?
It's real minimal. Minimal. Years ago, someone said to me, "You can buy as many bits of kit as you want."
Yeah.
But true mastery of like one synth is worth its weight in gold in comparison to having tons of bits of kit, because you'll just spend so long just twiddling knobs. So I have one synth. I use Ableton Live and Reason and a bunch of plugins,
Have you always been on Reason?
Always been on Reason, yeah, from the first one. Like, for people who never got into the Cubase thing and who are much more about the speed that you can get things down at, Reason was fantastic. And then only like 2-3 years ago, I got onto Ableton, and using them together is fantastic. It's really good.
So when it comes to DJ sets, does Ableton follow you? Or?
It does, yes.
Yeah.
So I have a reasonably interesting setup. There's a lot of people out here who do fairly similar things, but yeah, it's. I use a laptop with it running Ableton Live and 2 MIDI controllers. Right. One of them is a Launchpad, the other one is an Akai MPD. It's a kind of hybrid between a live and DJ set. So I'm mixing other people's tracks, but messing around with them whilst I'm doing it. Yeah. So like from the age of 11, I was playing in bands and playing on stage.
I was going to ask you that next. You let slip earlier. There's been a band from the school days.
Yeah.
So what was your role?
I was harmonica player. Believe it or not. It's an interesting instrument. Yeah. No, it just sort of came out when I was a kid. I just found the harmonica. My dad knew an amazing teacher who I owe a lot of my music to, really, and he taught me how to improvise, which is where a lot of the writing stems from. Yeah. But then I discovered music production. Yeah. And it's the ability to control everything in the track that felt like a breath of fresh air to me, and as opposed to being a single member in a band. Yeah. So the live aspect is definitely something that I want to work towards in terms of my music. And who knows which way it'll go. But with technology and with the way that things are going, it's very interesting. Yeah, very exciting. Yeah.
So with the productions, have you ever been tempted to maybe get the instruments out?
Absolutely.
Has that started, or is that
it has? Yeah, it has. Yeah, it's getting a few things going. But I definitely want to get more live instruments in there. It's something that I'm, looking to do with a bit more budget and a bit more time on my hands. As far as that stuff goes, I'm really looking forward to experimenting, and not just within 140 beats per minute. Yeah. I'm definitely going to explore outside of that as well. Yeah. I think that's very important for me, is to not be constrained to a particular genre.
Yeah. Recently, you've done a podcast.
Yeah.
And I've had a good listen to the podcast, and I must say I thoroughly enjoyed it. But what I was impressed by is the wide range of artists and tracks, and like you say, you mix up the genres. I mean, you've gone from people without trying to typically name drop the whole track list, but you've gone from Breakers to Joker to your own tracks, a remix of Netsky's track. I mean, is that something that you sort of feature as a DJ set as well? Is that a good mirror of what you play out?
Sort of. I mean, it completely depends where I'm playing, how the crowd is, what kind of a night it is. I think I like to think that I try and tailor my live sets to how things are going. Yeah. For me, that podcast was definitely a bit of a kind of exploration of the 140 BPM, really. Yeah. There's trap music in there. There's a bit of the breakagey kind of breaksy stuff. Yeah. It kind of reflects my view on dance music at the moment, really. Yeah. And what I'm really digging, and it's just the quality of music that's out there is just so good. Yeah. And in my opinion, constraining yourself to a genre, you're just missing out on all the other good stuff. Yeah. And there is a lot. Yeah. In terms of the podcast, it definitely was a bit of an exploration for me, and I wanted to make a bit of a statement, just to say, you can call it dubstep, you can call it trap, whatever. It's good dance, good music as well. Yeah.
Good message to send. I want to take the time again to thank you very much for speaking to us. Other episodes, pleasure. Yeah. And the EP's out now on Hospital, so check that out.